I'm going to teach you the fact that the seller is always lying. Always. And most importantly, if you're going to buy it, you need to steal it. So remember, rule number 1, the seller is always lying. Now, I'm just going to breeze through some things here. There will be a standalone video in this series about how to inspect a vehicle before you buy it. But we're just covering the basics here on number 1. So I know you can't get a good view here. I'm not going to set up an additional camera here because I'm going to be showing how to take this apart and fix it in the future. So what do we see? Okay. Air filter cartridge. Supposed to be clamps here. Those clamps are broke off. That's what pulls this up right here and keeps this tray taut, so you're not getting dusting in the engine, meaning that cruddy dirt, whatever's in the atmosphere that the engine is sucking in is going right through the throttle body, which is where you get fuel, and that's gumming that up. So you might be in for a situation where you're going to have to put a new throttle body on and or get a good cleaning. And most of the time, these throttle bodies are really picky about cleaning them, even though you might do a relearn on them. Yeah, we'll get there, don't worry. Even though you have to put a relearn on them, they're picky. A lot of times you just got to get a brand new one. And once again, you can't buy AutoZone, O'Reilly crap, stuff like that. It's just going to fail. They are trying to sell you stuff based on what their highest profit margin is. Their highest profit margin, and they could care less about the quality that they're selling to you. They may say they do, they don't care. So we're going to have to, if that would be the case here, we'd have to get an OEM throttle body. Nothing is better than OEM parts. Always remember that. You can get away with some areas without it, but when you're talking about engine components, it's got to be OEM. Otherwise, you're sending something down the road that is just inevitably going to break. And then you're going to have somebody, if they're a pain in the ass, coming back to you and texting you or calling you or on Facebook Marketplace and sending you messages or Craigslist, whatever the case may be. That is not what you want. Take pride in what you're doing. Enjoy the process that you're working for yourself to make a profit. Enjoy it. Don't get upset about, if you're getting upset that you got to do this, that, the other thing, this isn't for you. You have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy doing it. So, what else did we see here? Well, remember the ad did say that it needed a timing set, okay? Well, actually, the timing set is just fine. Now, it's an aftermarket timing set. It will be removed off the truck and thrown in the garbage. You can tell some telltale signs here that somebody's been in here before. So the timing set has been replaced at some point in time, and somebody used some really cheap crap parts. Number 2, the cam color on the passenger side and the cam color on the driver's side, so R, L, bank 1, bank 2, do not match. There's a different cam over here. This truck has had some problems in the past. So when I open up the hood here, this was laying right here. right on top of the battery. Hopefully that'll focus in there. That doesn't make a difference. Anyways, this is a cam follower. Inside the head, you have this lifter right here, and that sets just like that, and this rides up and down, pushing the valve up and down, and this is where the cam hits. This is a very common issue on Ford 5.4s, 4.6s, 6.8s. And what happens is, I'll keep that here for a moment. What happens is that because people don't change their oil and use good quality oil like they should, these bearings in here start getting hot, and then they start collapsing with the little needle bearings that are inside. And then what happens is the cam starts chewing it up and then shoots it out from underneath. If you're lucky on a 3-valve, you'll still be able to make it home because there's 2 inlets and 1 exhaust. If you lose an exhaust, you're screwed, but if you lose one of the inlets, the intake, you still might be able to make it, but you're still going to have issues. There's going to be a lot of stuff burnt up like there is here. So we have different cams in here. We have a cheap timing set that's in here. These solenoids, they've been changed out. We've got a Ford OEM here, but we have a cheap aftermarket crap right there. So this is why you need to learn when you buy something. If you don't have the experience like I have to go in as deep as we're going to go, this is something that you need to stay away from or be ready for a learning experience. Now, because that roller follower chewed itself up on the cam, all of that metal is sitting inside the head and in the pan. So we're going to have to remove the pan. We're going to have to inspect the oil pickup. We're probably going to go ahead and just remove that. You're going to have to get that all cleaned out of all those metal shavings. The head itself, once I get the cam off, I'll be able to determine if it's going to need a different head. And this is another thing. Make sure that you're working on something that is got billions and billions of them on the road, because you'll be able to get parts cheap. If you try to find a Mitsubishi with a specific turbo and it's a specialty engine that they only built for the top of the line Mitsubishi, well, you've lost money because the head itself is probably going to cost more than the car. All right? Need to find stuff that has cheap parts. So, and I'm going to be repeating, as we go through here, I'm going to be repeating a lot of stuff just so you who wants to learn how to do this remember. And the repeat here is that the customer is always lying. So basically what we're going to have to do here is I'm going to order new cam set, OEM Ford cams, new Ford Performance roller rockers and lifters. What I do on these right here is that Ford makes a performance series of parts for this, for the Mustang. Well, that's what we put in. We take the basic truck equipment parts here, and we put in the high performance Mustang parts. I'm here to tell you, when we get done putting the high performance Mustang parts on here, she's gonna go. Everybody that has bought one of these from me all have the same comment. Well, you know, that's not quite like, you know, my dad's 5.4, or I've driven my friends and man, this thing just really goes. Well, those are the little secrets. That's how you build a good reputation. When people do contact you back and say, well, holy balls, wow, this thing really goes, or this is a really good job, or man, we're really happy. That does happen. It's not all negative. So anyways, new timing set, Ford OEM. We're going to put in a high volume oil pump in here, change out the spark plugs, pull out the intake, put new gaskets on there. And that's, you know, we got to get a new battery for it. That's just a start. This is what you're looking at. You know, all these fluids right here, I suck them all out. I get them out of the system. All fresh fluid goes in with a little bit of sealer, you know. Helps on the age of any vehicle, helps seal anything up that might be a future leak. You know, it's not like you dump in a whole bottle of renewer sealer, but you just follow the directions, and whoever you're selling this to is going to go, you know, I bought this from this person and he's a car flipper. You know, you should give him a call and see what he has or what he's working on. This is how you get premium money out of what you're working on. But once again, I'm going to do a standalone video on what to look at, how to assess your flip when you're buying it. We'll be hitting down in all kinds of stuff here, all the way, like I said, from the beginning to the end, including what to do with your taxes. Uncle Sam has won his pound of flesh. This is the oil pump that I just got done pulling off, and she is just toasted. All these grooves in here, all these heavy grooves. Just absolutely incredible. Take your fingernail and see if you can hear that on the mic. All kinds of debris ended up going through this engine. Get these pulled out. This turns as the crank on the engine turns, and it kind of squishes the oil and pushes it through the engine. This is spinning, you know, at a ridiculous rate. Everything is grooved. All kinds of crap, debris. Seller's always lying. Always remember that. That's why you got to get these cheap. Yeah, the inside's the same way. This guy must not have had any oil pressure whatsoever. All right, well, that's for the parts bin. So as he was saying that it just needed a new timing set. So this is what we found right here. This is called a roller follower. Notice that this is all just completely eaten away. So right here is one that's working. Got a little nice roller bearing right here. It's a whole bunch of little needle bearings inside of here. And once this gives out, then it starts going under and then starts running sideways and then shoots out from underneath the lifter. So we have the passenger cam right here, and this is where it gave out right there. So this cam is shot, and then you can see also all this scoring that is going on where the cam caps sit on top. Here is the driver's side, and then these are even worse. So he got this truck from a dealer in 2021, and somewhere in mid 2023, from the records and everything that I've pulled up, that in mid 2023 is when this went kittywampus. What did I find? That this was not a secret. All right, this all did not happen all at the same time. So initially they had the valve covers off when I picked it up, and they had that roller follower sitting on top of the battery. It was, and the lifter itself, the top of it had already broken off because that's how violent it was. Shot all that stuff into the engine, of course. All the small little debris items, little pieces of metal were just going through the whole entire engine. But it's not shot, all right? Then what I had found is the timing actually on the bank one on this right-hand side right here. Now, keep in mind that when you're sitting in the vehicle, you're ordering parts, you're facing this way. So this is left, that is right, bank one, bank two. So bank one right here, that timing was absolutely perfect. The chain was perfect, but what had happened is, and the first time that I've seen this, is that the chain guide, the chain somehow ended up on top of that. So that would have been just, plastic grinding against metal. You would have known that there was an issue here, okay? And I'm going to make the assumption, just from what I'm seeing, that he knew that and then kept on driving it until the roller follower finally chewed itself up and shot itself out, where it was misfiring so badly that you couldn't drive it anymore. The problem here is that dipshit drove it for so long that way, knowing that there was an issue, that the cam on the left bank over here, bank two, when I tried to turn, when I took the chain off and I tried to turn the cam, it was, you couldn't turn it. And a cam, you should just be able to take it and do this with your finger on the phaser. Nope, I took a pipe wrench. I could not get it to turn. And this chain on this side was stretched out over an inch. So once again, always remember, the seller is always lying. Look, listen, nobody sells anything that is working perfectly. There is going to be a problem. And in the highest percentage, they are going to lie. And you need to figure out what that problem is. You can't just go through and clean it up, throw some new oil in it, and put it back up for sale. You need to figure out what the heck is wrong with the vehicle. Otherwise, you're going to have people taking you to court. You're going to have lawsuits. The as-is thing in court only goes so far, all right? If they find out that you're buying stuff, cleaning it up with known problems, even unknown problems, and putting it back out onto the market again, guess what? They're going to consider you a low-grade automotive dealer, and you're going to have to fork out some cash. So in the end here, I got new cams, new lifters, new followers, and I had to go actually and re-clearance the cam caps on this left side right here. Once again, if you don't know mechanic work, you're not experienced, this kind of stuff is not for you. You're going to end up putting it all back together, spending all this money to find out that it's broke. You're going to end up putting it all back together. You're going to have new parts in it, and all of a sudden you're going to crank it on over and bust the chain off because you didn't realize that the cam was frozen up, on whatever that you're working on, or you would think that it's normal. You need to have experience. You need to rely on doing a lot of reading on the old Google machine, going through YouTube, and finding out, once again, what are all the problems on what you're buying. And then find out what the seller was not disclosing to you. Once again, these are the things you're going to run into. It's not just as easy.